This is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
We hope everyone who celebrated had a wonderful Yom Kippur, and now we're back in school and no days off till November. So in just a few moments, we'll open today's show with some school announcements along with the school sports. Following that, Josh and I will talk to this year's MHS Marching Band Drum Majors about what it's like to be a drum major, along with promoting this weekend's competition right here at Metuchen High School. Then we will discuss ways to time manage during high school. But first, Josh, take it away with the announcements.
School spirit tastes great. Make dinner a selfless act by participating in a fundraiser to support the MHS girls soccer team. Come to Chipotle at 349 Lake Avenue in Metuchen on Tuesday, September 25th between 5 and 9 p.m. Tell the cashier you're supporting their cause to make sure 33% of the proceeds are donated to the Metuchen High School girls soccer team. Saturday, October 6th is Metuchen's annual tradition, the Country Fair. It begins at 10 a.m. Be sure to support your class's booth as it plays a big role in Battle of the Classes. Saturday, October 13th is a busy day in Metuchen. First, PSAT testing for sophomores and juniors begins at 8 a.m. Then, at 1 p.m. is the MHS homecoming football game. At the end of the day, it's the MHS Homecoming Dance at 7 p.m. That's all for announcements.
All right, thank you, Josh. And with the MHS Sports Report, I'm Eddie Kalegi. After a solid first half in their home opener Saturday, the Metuchen football team was ultimately bested by Arthur L. Johnson High School, 27-7 the score. After a Frederick Krebs touchdown reception propelled the Dogs to a 7-6 halftime lead, Johnson was unstoppable in the second half. Metuchen is back home this Saturday for their GMC Blue Division opener against rival Dunellen. I'll be on the call for a Twitter cast for that one, so be sure to follow the MHS Podcast on Twitter at MHS Pawdcast at 1 Eastern Saturday for the latest. Monday was a great day for the MHS field hockey team as all three teams defeated Monroe, highlighted by the varsity team's 5-0 shutout. Maeve Kenny scored twice while Lauren Hauser, Sarah Jenny, and Sophia Capizino each tallied a goal. Senior Cameron Chaudhry successfully kept Monroe off the board. It's been a rough past couple games for the girls soccer team since their thrilling overtime win over South Plainfield, most recently a 4-0 loss against Spotswood. The team hopes to get back on track with several Blue Division opponents looming. A season that has been plagued by the weather has proved to be quite successful for the boys soccer team, who took the victory in Monday's contest 2-1 at Carteret. Trent Leaf and Thomas Cortez each netted goals, with Metuchen breaking the scoreless tie late on Cortez' goal. Finally, the girls tennis team was dominant Friday, defeating Island Kennedy in all 5 matches. That's all the news we've got in MHS Sports. Now it's time for our first interview of today's show. Welcome back to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
The Metuchen High School Marching Band is well known not only around the county, but also around the state. This Sunday is a perfect opportunity to see them compete close to home. To discuss the upcoming competition and how things have gone so far for the marching band, it's a pleasure to be joined by this year's drum majors, Abby Brooks, Chris Blue, and Nina Rakash. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning. When did each of you realize you had an interest in music and wanted to commit to it? We'll start with Abby.
In second grade, my brother first started playing the trumpet, and granted, he didn't play all that well at the time, but I was really inspired by him, and I really wanted to follow in his footsteps, and yeah, I guess in second grade, I really started to love music.
How about you, Chris?
My dad always loved listening to music, and so I grew up listening to all the classics, or classic from like Beethoven and all that composers. And I guess just as a child, they just interested me because I really had nothing else to do but homework and listen to music.
And Nina?
Oh, funny story. My dad actually wanted to start a band. So my brother played the saxophone, my dad played the drums, and he wanted me to learn how to play the violin. So that's when I started playing music. Then I stopped in 8th grade and then started up again last year.
So I'm going to ask you each this. If you could play a different instrument that you can't or haven't tried right now, what would it be?
Oh, I guess I'd go to double bass, because that sounds just like, Okay, yeah, that's it.
Probably like some pit instrument, because I don't like moving around a lot. So maybe like the xylophone.
I only played 2 instruments, so the opera instruments are probably like the drums. Yeah, the drums.
So, well, last year we got the perspectives of the drum majors Sebastian Zuniga and Izzy Hong about being drum majors. So tell us about what it's like having the position. What is it you guys have to do?
It's actually quite a great experience in terms of teaching you leadership and responsibility. It's drastically different from being a section leader, as you now have to actually learn your own music, look at the score, remember sets and tempos. The show kind of depends on the drum line as well, but for a lot of the tempo, like the initial starts, it's the drum majors. It's been quite an experience.
So, what's the most difficult part about being a drum major?
Well, right before we go on to the field, Chris likes to tap everything. Chris likes to tap everything on his leg. So I'm gonna guess for him setting the tempo.
I was really afraid of not remembering the tempo as we were warming up and marching down to the actual field for competition. There was many different bands practicing around us, and I keep on going to their tempo instead of the tempo of our show. So that really stressed me out.
So the MHS band is definitely well known, and this Sunday allows for fellow students to see where you guys stack up against other bands around the state. Talk to us about Sunday's competition.
All right, so Sunday's competition starts at 1. It's 1 to 4, and it's at the high school. It should be really cool. So this is the 4th time it's happening. It starts at 1. It's a lot of fun because a lot of the times we're like going to see bands in like their hometown, and it's a lot of traveling, and the band bus is kind of wild. And it's really interesting to have them be here, and we get to, we have to be on our best behavior for it, but we get to kind of show them what Metuchen is like and why we're a strong competitor and how much work we put in.
Right, so how has the band been performing so far with one competition already in the books? And what do you guys have to improve upon heading forward into this season?
I'd say we're doing pretty well. At our competition on Saturday, we got first place. So out of 2 bands, but still first place.
It was we got a 78.91, and it was actually quite surprising because it's the highest we've done in a while. So I'm really happy with our band right now. We're all working hard, and every rehearsal we're putting our best.
All right, MHS Drum Majors, thanks for joining us here on the MHS Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we'll be talking about how to effectively balance your life with high school. I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
And this is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. Having trouble seeing the board in class? Do you need safety glasses for your school sport? If you answered yes to either of these questions, head over to Optik Unique, the eyeglass store at 406 Main Street in Metuchen. Optik Unique does it all. Not only do they offer eyewear for all ages, they also sell sports-specific safety glasses for kids and adults. Call them at 732-321-2020. That's 732-321-2020, or visit OptikUnique.com. Do you want to build character, build confidence, or even build yourself? All that and more can be accomplished at the Black Belt Institute at 23 New Street, right here in Metuchen. Students of all ages have been able to learn respect, discipline, fitness, and self-defense from their experienced instructors for over 20 years. Whether you're an adult looking for stress reduction or know someone young who has interest in Taekwondo, the Black Belt Institute is the place to go. The Institute takes a fun approach at teaching the rules of self-defense, instilling in their students an I-can-do-it attitude. Interested in taking a class? Call them at 732-205-9797 or visit their website at blackbeltinst.com. Once again, that's 732-205-9797 or blackbeltinst.com. The Black Belt Institute, Metuchen's leader in martial arts and fitness. The MHS Pawdcast is proudly sponsored by Reflections on Main Salon at 176 Main Street in Metuchen. The salon offers hair design, nail, waxing, and makeup services for all ages. They are committed to providing the best customer service in the industry, offering a tranquil environment with environmentally friendly products and top brand names. Call them at 732-205-9881 or visit their website at reflectionsonmain.nj.com. Reflections on Main, Middlesex County's premier full-service beauty salon.
The MHS Pawdcast is also sponsored by Allstate Insurance at 63 Pearl Street in Metuchen. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Welcome back to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalecki.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
High school can be a pain sometimes, and our new freshmen are definitely realizing it. That's why, thanks to blog.collegevine.com, we'll be discussing how to effectively balance your time in high school. So Josh, first off, you're a busy guy, you do a lot of different things. How have you found to balance your time?
I just do my after-school activities right after school. I go home and I immediately start my homework. If it gets too late at night, if it's 11 o'clock and I still have stuff to do, I'll just go to bed and then I'll come in early the next day and do my homework as I'm waiting for classes to start.
Alright, so in the article it lists 6 different topics. So the first topic is understanding the law of diminishing returns. This is specifically for upperclassmen. So it states class rank and GPA don't matter a whole lot beyond a certain point. The difference between a 4.4 and a 4.5 GPA or a number 6 or number 4 spot in class rankings on a college application is pretty minimal. Either way, you'll have demonstrated significant academic aptitude and a capability to complete college-level work. The effort you spend jumping your class rank by 2 spots could be better spent on developing your extracurriculars, applying to scholarships, or competing for honors and awards. So obviously, as I said, this is more of something for upperclassmen, but if you're really high up in class rankings and stuff, one mistake or just one little point in GPA isn't going to make a big difference.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think people take GPA way too seriously and think it's such a huge giant deal. But the only real difference that you'll see is if you drop from a 4 to a 3. That would be a pretty bad difference. But if you drop from a 4.6 to a 4.5, having a 4.5 is still really impressive because it's a 4.5. That's above a good GPA. So if you drop from a 4.6 to a 4.5, like the article said, it's not that big of a deal, and you can just spend your time doing something else than just bumping it up by just a tenth of a point.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing addresses extracurriculars. It's choose a few activities and stick to them. As mentioned before, the quality of involvement is more important than the quantity. Don't join groups just because you think they'll look good on college applications, and don't apply for leadership positions just because there's an opening. Pursue lengthy, meaningful commitments to groups you actually care about and that are pertinent to your potential major or career field. So that's actually an important point right there about obviously having extracurriculars is important, but it's even more important to have things that are related to what you want to go into in the future.
Yeah, that's a really good point because, when you're junior and senior, you're getting ready for college, and you want to do your extracurriculars that you want to do in college. You want to be a sports broadcaster, right? So you're doing this to help you, transition into what it's like, taking interviews, making podcasts, stuff like that. And I think if you want to go into some field or focus on it in college, like the article said, you should start preparing for it now because now is definitely the time to start your college career.
Mm-hmm. Third one is probably something nobody will like, but utilize your summers. Summers provide an excellent opportunity to compensate for areas of weakness in previous years. If you had an extremely rigorous schedule and excellent grades the previous year, but your extracurricular involvement were lacking, consider spending your summer volunteering or interning to build your resume. If it's the other way around, with the extracurriculars strong but your GPA wasn't, academic tutoring for the classes you'll take in the fall can boost your GPA. So obviously this is something nobody wants to do, but sometimes it's the inevitable that you have to do.
Yeah, that's true. Nobody wants to spend their summer working, but if you can get those community service hours in or do something really important that'll look good in your resume, you should do it. And then even if you work a bit harder, you should find something that you enjoy doing that'll also look good on, colleges or give you hours or do whatever it can to help you.
So next thing is get organized. Time management is one of the most important skills you'll learn in school and in your career. Find a system that works for you, be it a planner, calendar on your phone, or a to-do list, and document your academic and extracurricular responsibilities. Remembering homework assignments, test dates, and deadlines for major assignments can be overwhelming, and writing or typing it all down is a smart way to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. Now, there's two sides of this. The school provides us with the planners, but the problem is by October 1st, everybody loses it or nobody uses it.
The planners aren't very good in the school. I would definitely petition for, full-size planners because they say, hey, the workload's going to be a lot bigger than it is in middle school. You're going to get a lot more homework, and then they give you nothing to write it down with. It's just not. and it just takes the space in the backpack. If they were to give you a planner, and if they intend for you to use a planner, they should make it a good, good sized planner. And yeah, this is a good point, because you could be like the smartest person in the world, the greatest in your class or whatever, but if you're not finding the time to do any of your work, that's a problem. And like, especially for kids who are procrastinators like me, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really manage my time well. It's really important to get into the habit, because once you get into college, the workload's going to be through the roof, and if you can't manage your time correctly, you're not going to do very well.
Next thing is work with others. Planning study groups, club meetings, or extra practices can be immensely helpful if you're a student who struggles to balance time. If you're liable to spend all your time volunteering or writing speeches for your debate team, schedule study groups with classmates. So that's one of the important things, because high school life prepares you for college life and the adult life, where you have to work with people, and working with others to get things done can definitely be a benefit.
Yeah, definitely. If you can't talk to people, you should start getting better at that now, so you don't have to struggle through college not being able to talk to people.
Final topic, give yourself a break. While this blog post may be mainly about how to balance school and extracurriculars, these shouldn't fill your every waking moment. Give yourself time to spend with family and friends, to develop hobbies, to think about things other than school or college for once. If you don't allow yourself reasonable breaks and a decent amount of sleep, you won't be able to perform at your best in school and extracurricular activities. So, that might be difficult for the people who are really busy, but it's as important as anything else.
Yeah, definitely. Like it said, you have to balance everything, and that means, just stepping back for a minute, taking a deep breath, and just resetting, even for the week. Because if you don't do this, you're just going to burn out before the end of the year, and it's not going to be fun.
All right, well, time management's certainly key in high school. That's going to wrap up today's show. A thank you to the MHS Drum Majors and Josh Hyman, Ms. Wisniewski, our club advisor, and Ms. Glave for providing the space. I'm Eddie Kaleghi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
And this is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS.